Now on this historic indictment, CNN political analyst and New York Times senior political correspondent Maggie Haberman and former associate counsel to President George W. Bush, Jamil Jaffer, back at the table so soon. But Maggie, let's start with this, because you've been doing reporting on what's happening in Trump world leading up to this. They were surprised by this, by the fact that it came down last night. And some people had even been telling Trump maybe it would never come down at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's often hard to tell how much of this is them actually believing what they're saying and how much of this is projection and wish casting. But there's no question that people around Trump were completely caught off guard by this. They did believe, the reports that the grand jury was done for a month and that they would not be coming back for several weeks. They thought they had time if this was going to happen at all, and they were all sort of exhaling. And then suddenly this happened. Trump, my understanding is, recalibrated pretty quickly. He clearly had been thinking about what he was going to say, and it's not that different than what he had been saying before. But this was not where they thought they were going to be today. There's no question about that.
But my question is, why? But really, though, do they really believe what the former president, and really believe that if you live here in New York City, you saw the security, all the security that was ramping up, what the sources were saying, was this just wishful thinking on the Trump folks' part?
I don't know what information they say that they were getting. They do clearly have some lines into, I think, some folks in the prosecutor's office and people around the courthouse. So I think that they were getting bits and pieces of information. They were cobbling that together. And then I think in some cases they were projecting and suggesting that therefore this is not going to happen. But, grand juries are unpredictable, number one, and they don't really understand Alvin Bragg. And I think that Alvin Bragg's office, whether intentionally or not, took all the reports that there was going to be a break and used that to almost dial down the heat and then move forward.
Right on.
One of the outstanding questions, Jamil, is this just about Michael Cohen's testimony and Stormy Daniels, or is this about a lot more? We know that David Pecker, right, who ran the company that runs the National Enquirer, testified not once but twice. And we also know that Bragg's team of prosecutors asked many questions regarding Karen McDougal and the $150,000 catch and kill to silence her story. So when you listen to Lanny Davis, Michael Cohen's attorney, last night on CNN, saying it's not just about one person's testimony, where does that leave you?
Well, Poppy, I think that's probably right. I mean, we've heard that there are 30-plus charges being brought. It's hard to imagine that many charges being brought just around the one Stormy Daniels issue. So I think it's likely there is more going on, whether it's Karen McDougal, other business dealings going on inside the Trump organization. Obviously, the Trump organization convicted of tax fraud earlier, last year. And so we know there was stuff going on with the organization. Hasn't yet been tied to the former president, but we could very well see that going forward in this case.
You don't think 30-plus charges could be just about Stormy Daniels? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, it's hard to imagine. I mean, I suppose it's possible, but how many things can you bring, right? So you've got, obviously, the payment, right, the tax issues related to it, the side payments to Cohen. It's hard to imagine 30 different charges coming out of that. It's possible,
Unless
I suppose.
It's every one of those checks.
That's right. That's actually true. It could be that.
Jamil Jaffer, thank you very much. Maggie Haberman, stick around. Don't go far. We have a lot ahead. We are